And we are live. Hello and welcome to the Iron Mountain Hour. It is Wednesday, June the 8th, 2022. My name is Cliff. I'm joined via the magic of Skype by Tim. And we are coming to you via the magic of YouTube and OBS. And we're so glad you're here with us, or at least we hope you're here with us. I don't have my chat window open, so I don't know if you are or not. But if you are, jump in that chat and say hello. Tell me what you think about what we're talking about. We're just going to go through some news stories tonight. We're kind of going to go rapid fire. What's that?
Chicken and biscuits.
Chicken and biscuits. All right. Tim's contribution.
What's that? Chicken and biscuits. No, I just wanted to give myself a volume test on the PC.
Sounds like you're coming in loud and clear. I heard you through your microphone there, so it sounds like we're good. So that's our on-the-fly production squad right there. Tim and I just checking and making sure things are going in. I forgot to turn the lava lamp on tonight, but
only the highest quality.
That's right. Well, hey, we're listening to the juicy synth of Goff there. It's a little tune he made us for a little background noise while we're talking and stuff, so throwing that in there. Hey, we got a few stories to go through. We got quite a bit that I'm going to try to hit tonight, and I don't want to keep you up all night, but I want to go through them pretty quick, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go rapid fire through these things, and then we're going to kind of discuss them somewhat overall, the big picture at the end of it. We welcome you to jump in the chat and tell us what you think as we go, though. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a local story here for Johnson City. They're having the Meet the Mountains Festival returning. That's going to be August 19th and 20th, so it's going to be down in the Founders Park. They're going to do air, earth, and water. Hit into the, what do you call that? The four elements there. There are three of the elements anyway. They're not getting into fire. It doesn't sound like, but
they say there's no fire.
Doing fly fishing and mountain biking.
No heart.
Nope. No.
Not true. No approval from Ted Turner. That's for sure.
They're going to do biking, ziplining, air dog shows, yoga, ropes course, rock wall. That sounds pretty cool. Hope it goes well for them. Let's go on to Bristol, Virginia, where we're going to the mayor says they're going to work towards closing the landfill for good. That landfill had been giving them a lot of problems there. It stinks so bad that people were saying they were getting health problems from the smell. So hope they get something taken care of over there. If they close the landfill for good, where are they going to put their trash?
Okay, at the bottom of your screen, you have something called Nervive.
Nerve relief. Yes. Buy now.
I mean, the names of these, they're so on the nose. I know what can we do to revive the nerve? Nervive. That's what they got there.
Some of them, though, are just stupid. Anyway. It's like Blacks. That's like, how did they even come up with that drug name, Blacks? Or what's the one, Taltz? Like, that doesn't even sound like a medication. At least make it sound like scientific or something. Taltz just sounds like a made-up word.
Which one is it?
Taltz. I don't know what it does. I've seen commercials for it a bunch. Yeah, it's like TATLZ or TALTZ.
Probably discovered like on accident and causes liver failure, but makes your complexion slightly better if you have acne.
Probably so. Never mind the burning pee. We got WJHL here. Police bag with $50,000 vanishes from Roan Mountain man's kitchen counter. So basically, the long and short of it was this guy went to bed and he woke up and he had drawn out a bunch of money to buy some land, and he left it sitting in a bag on his kitchen counter and went to bed. When he got up in the morning, he said he heard some noise overnight, and he looked out and saw a car he didn't recognize. And then he discovered his money was gone, but his house was still locked up. There's no signs of forced entry. He said the only way someone could get in was with the key. And then what should happen, but update on the story, the man has found the money. So makes you wonder, did they go find it? Did he just lose it? No more details released.
It was his dirty nephew.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I got. Yeah. But it's funny, I did notice.
Who would have known he had $50,000?
Do what?
So, who would have known he had $50,000,
Had to be somebody that knew. But he also said that whoever it was had to have a key to the house.
Obviously a stranger.
Well, I did see the sheriff's department up the road had a bunch of guys over on the side of the street, and they were around the back of a house, and I saw a cop going around the side with an AR, so when maybe they were recovering the money, maybe that's what was going on.
50,000.
Yeah. So we got out of our local area into national news. This was up in Montana. Y'all see this boy up in Montana? Oh man, this article doesn't even have the picture of him. Are you kidding me? This kid was in Montana. He wandered off. I think it was 3 years old, and they found him alive. Um, I'm see if I can pull up this story of him or this picture of him real quick because it's an awesome little picture of this little dude found in Montana. 3-year-old. Let's search 3-year-old Montana real quick. I bet we can find it. Here he is. He was on his own for 2 days outdoors, and here's a picture of this little guy. Bless his heart. Look at him. He's a trooper. It looks like he had to wrap his feet up, or maybe he wore through his socks. It kind of looks like his feet are wrapped. But bless his heart, he made it in his PJs and so it looks like somebody else's hoodie. So he just walked off, and they didn't know where he went. And then found him about 2.5 miles from where he disappeared, and that's what he looked like. So it looks like he's happy to see those folks. So it's good thing they found him.
He can remember him. He'll always have the a story to beat everybody else's for a
Oh
while.
yeah, you ever get lost in the woods, Tim?
Yeah, I've been lost a couple of
Yeah.
times.
Let's see.
I have a follow-up story for that just because there's a bunch of times.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing is I was gone for a week in Montana or anything like that. I never made nothing.
Right, I didn't either. I've got lost on my own for a couple days, but that's a story for another time. This is a Chicago woman says a stranger moved into her home and her for sale home and refused to leave. And then they said, unfortunately, we couldn't prove she was trespassing. We have to go to court. So the cops went in with this lady. So she knew somebody was in the house, and because somebody coming in to do some work said that they had seen somebody in the house, and she's like, no, nobody's supposed to be there. So we went to the cops. Miss U2 says, "Oh, glad he was found." Yeah, it's always a good story when we have a happy ending like that. The lady in the house though, she had said she had paid $8,000 since she had a lease, but the lady who owns the house had not leased it to anybody and not received any money, and she was selling the house. So the cops actually said they could not kick her out because she had this lease. So, lesson of this story: if you want to move into somebody's house that's for sale, just go write yourself up a lease, and it'll take them several months in court to figure out
That lease isn't real.
if they can kick you out.
Man, Australia must have some like bananas laws because that's not. Did you say Australia this time?
No, straight. No, this is Chicago.
Okay, well it's okay. I don't know what. I guess I just implied it. For some reason, I fell down a rabbit hole, like 2 weeks ago. Of apparently that's a really bad problem in Australia where people will just squat on people, and it's. I know it's legally you can do that in other places, and apparently in Australia, it seems like the common theme was always the people probably could have just walked in and started cracking skulls, but just were all like, I don't know, it's like they had to play this game of we're worried about their mental health.
Right.
Really you could tell these people all really just wanted to walk in there and rip them apart. Like one of them was a storage building. Like the guy came home one day and he realized a family had moved into his storage shed and they wouldn't come out. And every time he'd try to go inside, they'd spray like bear mace at him and stuff. So he was like, well, I guess I'll get the cops. And the cops were like, well, we're going to have to go through the courts to get them out and stuff. And it was like, what are you talking about? So finally, after weeks of these people literally adding on to his shed with like tents and stuff, it was like his backyard was like growing.
Building like a base from Fallout 4.
Yeah. And apparently this is like a thing that just happens in Australia where people are like, we don't know what to do with them because we can't go kick them out.
Yeah.
We're a gunless country. And we've been convinced we need to be nutless too because we came here as savages or something. And now we're overcompensating by being, weenies. Now the new tactic is people start calling the news to like shame them off their lawn. And it's like, it is absurd looking at these videos where you're just like, they're like, well, the guy that kicked them out was like, well, I'm just glad they're finally going to get the help they need. And it's like,
you're just glad they're the fuck off your property.
You gave them all that, but I can't tell if they're really serious or
Right.
not. Like, are they just expected, like in like this nerfed up world that we're in? Like, we're so afraid of like saying something offensive to somebody who might have some legitimate mental health issues that we let everyone that does have mental health issues be an asshole and nobody says anything to it. And that's going to be a weird boogeyman when we cross that line where we're not allowed to say anything to people because they have a diagnosis of a certain kind,
For real.
That's just what I'm wondering is are they nerfed up to where they're afraid to say something to people, or do they really feel that way? Because I could see
It could
people in
go
like
either way, I
Portland
guess.
feeling that way. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been under some heavy duty brainwashing in some of those Commonwealth countries, you know, New Zealand and Australia and Canada. Oh, the United States? Anybody? Um, okay, we got
Certain part.
yeah, we got this from CBS News. Do what?
Someone to help people. That's it. There's just a big difference in like wanting to help people and then one day coming home and there just being some asshole living in your
Yeah,
shed. Like if you want to go give meals to the homeless and stuff, guys, I approve that. But if you come home one day and there's an asshole living in your shed, kick his ass. Like that's just it's so stupid. Kick people's asses. That's
yeah.
dumb.
If you call the cops, they're gonna say they can't kick his ass, but you can kick his ass. He's on your property. All you have to do is say you felt threatened, and even in Australia, I think
Put
you'll
your
be all
tent
right.
up somewhere. It's not in my storage shed. You know.
Yep. Well, moving on to more national news. We got this from CBS News. Moderna says the updated COVID booster is superior to the original vaccine shots. Could begin shipping by August. Are you excited, Tim? Woohoo! You could get another 12%
Dolly,
protection for about 2 weeks, couldn't you?
that's Moderna was Dolly's, wasn't it? Or the one she funded or helped
Oh,
fund.
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure Moderna was the one that Dolly Parton helped fund.
Really? Let's look that up real quick.
Pfizer and Johnson were the big ones, and then Moderna was a relatively unknown company
Yeah.
until the Pfizer vaccine was
Yeah,
released.
she did. You're right. And that's the one Gates was in, right? Bill Gates owns part of that one.
Yeah,
Make sure
so
I'm right
she
about that.
when Dolly kind of sort of got on national news and kind of IQ shamed the Appalachian region into getting
Oh
vaccines.
yeah,
I'm not saying she doesn't give out books. I'm not saying she's not Saint Dolly, but everybody around here knows that ever since like the 60s or the dawn of time, Appalachia's been shamed for like stupidity and stuff like that. And she totally pulled that card out to try to get people to get
she
vaccines.
did, didn't she? I forgot all about that.
Yes. She said, and I know that I'm smart enough.
Yeah,
She leaned into it.
yeah,
I see what you're doing.
I remember that.
That's kind of a dirty bird tactic, man. You might think you might want to get rid of your riders if somebody wrote that line for you.
Yeah, check that stuff, Dolly. Let's see here. We got Breitbart. Global elites converge on Washington, D.C. for the Bilderberg Group meeting. That was this past week. We had, you know, Kissinger was obviously there. They have him pictured. And you had Albert Bourla from Pfizer, who we showed you in a couple of videos last week talking at the World Economic Forum. We had former CIA head David Petraeus. We had former Google CEO Eric Schmidt. We had CIA Director William J. Burns. And if for those of you who don't know what the Bilderberg Group is, I've got a list of participants here. It's super long. It's lots of heads of state and heads of industry from all around the world, and they get together once a year. And it started at the Bilderberg Hotel in where was that? Dresden, Germany, is it, or was it where was the Denmark? Gosh, I can't remember now. Let's see. I bet they have on here. This is the Bilderberg Group's website. They used to not they used to not admit that it actually the Netherlands, that's where it was, Hotel de Bilderberg in Oosterbrug, the Netherlands, but they used to not even admit this existed, and now they've got a public website.
Yeah, I remember like back in the day, it was like a hush hush thing. Like there was a MySpace page that was dedicated to it, and it was all like exposed Bilderberg, prove they're real and stuff.
Yeah, it was, and if you talked about it, somebody who would talk about it would be referred to as a crazy person or conspiracy theorist in the mainstream media. And now the funny thing is they act like in 1984 as if it always, it always existed and they were always talking about it. It did always exist. They just weren't talking about it. But basically what it is these heads of state, industry all get together behind the scenes in unofficial capacities and discuss basically how the next year or two is going to go in the world and what they're going to be doing on it. And apparently there's no policy set at the meeting according to them, but at the same time all the people who are going to be setting the policy are getting together and discussing it behind closed doors.
Well, it's that big club George Carlin talked about it.
That's right.
You're not a part of.
You ain't in it.
Like it doesn't, I don't know if you're buffering pretty hard, but like for some reason your resolution has gone PlayStation 1
Oh, well, that's weird.
on the video.
Everything looks good on my end. I don't know. Hopefully everybody else can see us pretty good.
Well, now it popped back here again, so
Okay.
who knows?
Hopefully that was just your
It's
internet for a
weird
second.
that did you ever think it was weird that I don't know that like Alex Jones was able to infiltrate it so easy?
What, the Bohemian Grove?
Yeah,
I don't think I don't.
like
The story was he wasn't actually able to that easy. It's just what they saw in the video. They said he got kicked out once and like got caught a couple times trying to get in, and then managed to just the time he snuck back in, he just had said he got
I
lucky.
guess I need to go back. I guess before I talk about that, I guess I need to go back and look at some of the original stuff and see what it was. I just thought at the time, like I don't know, maybe I'm just over suspicious,
Yeah,
but if Jason Ventura is going to be a plant, isn't Alex?
yeah. I don't
Would
know.
he have to be?
Could,
Anyway, we can move on to your,
could
your
be, could
news.
be. All right, we got here. This is a graph from the 1916, or a chart from the 1916, the 2016 Bilderberg meeting, and it shows a lot of it shows all these attendees, and you've got over here you got George Soros, you've got Dianne Feinstein, you've got Henry Paulson, the Secretary of the Treasury, or the head of the Fed, Timothy Geithner, who is the Secretary of the Treasury, um, all meeting together, and then you've got this little list that shows all their connections to each of these major companies and all these major foundations. And it's a huge web. They're all connected to one another, and they all get together and meet every year. But don't worry, they're not setting policy. Just everything that they talk about in the meetings that gets leaked comes out to happen. There's a funny Simpsons episode. I found a clip of it, but I'm afraid to play it with it for getting a copyright strike because it's about 2 minutes long, and if you don't watch the whole thing, you don't really get the whole point. But if you look up
Which one is
the
it?
Simpsons, the
Simpson.
Bilderberg meeting, I think you'll probably find it.
As long as long as you pull it up where it's not full screen,
Yeah,
you're
you
fine.
think so?
Yeah, as long as there's commentary
Okay,
and as long as there's as long as you don't just have that going nonstop for 2 minutes, I think you'll be fine.
all right.
There's a lot of Simpson stuff that's clipped
Well,
online. There's ways to get around that.
well, let me see if I can find it right now. They're talking though. I think I can find it real quick on.
A lot of that fair use stuff is so I don't know, like I've been following for a long time in the comedy world, which I guess if anybody really wants to know, like at some point in time, like the darker side of everybody comes out. There's been on YouTube, there's been a copyright battle that's been going on with creators forever. So I'm looking at some point in time, YouTube is probably going to try to drive everybody that's. I don't think they want to drive off everybody that's like
Yeah,
necessarily small. I think they just want to get rid of all the fluff. Like, just make sure it's really hard for you to have a YouTube channel and it not be beneficial to the company.
right. I got you.
Yeah, for the longest time, like YouTube, like people have like created channels to like kind of have like drama and beef with each other, um, and so it seems like with the bigger creators, if you want a copyright strike, if you have a bigger pull, it seems like they will allow you to get away with more. Is what it kind of seems like. We can have a whole episode about that if you wanted to, because it takes you down into the like here in like 20 years after Joe Rogan peaks for the last time and he finally starts getting some flack back, because everybody always starts getting some flack, it'll come back to the YouTube copyright days actually. I won't spoil the surprise on that, but a lot of people probably know what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, I think that you're right on most of that stuff. While you were talking about it, I actually found this, so let's we'll not do it.
Cool. Talk to
We'll not
you
do
later
it
then.
full screen. Hopefully, we'll be all right. This is the
A lot
cat.
of every now and then. Killer.
This is the cat flu episode from 2010. Hang on just a second. I got to turn on the desktop audio. Yeah,
Dunny Dun.
yeah. Unfortunately,
Will
yeah.
echo.
It fortunately will echo, but we'll. Oh.
All right, well, folks, every now and then I'm gonna go whoop, whoop, just to keep from feeling lower.
Sorry, we're gonna have a little echo here because Tim won't be able to be quiet the whole time, and that's just something you're gonna have to deal with. If you enjoy the channel, then you'll enjoy this. So we'll listen to Simpsons right quick, and I'll try to get it where I can shrink it down, and let's see, maybe I can get it where I can go click it off back and forth from this one button or from this one screen. If I do this, yeah, here we go. I think this will work. So hopefully we won't have any echo. But if we do, please bear with us. Here it comes. Oh, shoot. Dude, that's not going to work.
Well,
Alright.
if you get that, well, here's
I
some
got it.
magic. Here's some magic. If I was going to drop it and break it, I was going to drop it and break it.
Call to order this secret conclave of America's media empires. We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong in
There's your
dark rooms,
turtles all
glued
the
to their
way down,
televisions,
turtles
too
all the
terrified
way
to
down,
skip the
but-
commercials.
Well, I think
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak.
The endless screens.
I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
a new
Good old
disease.
fashioned
No
public
one's
health
immune.
scare. There you go. New disease. No one's immune. Sound familiar?
Can they hear that?
Yeah.
Can they hear that?
They should be able to.
Well, I can't. Not important as long as they
Yeah,
can hear.
it should be coming through on the stream. Yeah, so actually, okay, well, search the Simpsons cat flu because it's bothersome trying to do this on Skype, and I don't want to subject you to that. But they basically say, hey, we need to come up with a way to scare the public and get them to do whatever we say. And they say, well, how about a new disease? And they say, what about one that's really scary, that's from something right in your own home, like a cat? And then they say, hey, there we go. And then, but we just need to test it out. And they give a guy a shot, and then he falls over and dies, or has what you call it, convulsions. Anyway, watch that video, and you'll be kind of surprised because it comes right into the kind of stuff that we're talking about with the rest of the episode. I'm afraid to play the whole thing there because it's 2 minutes long, and it's just such a pain to start and mute and all that stuff. So sorry, I don't have a better way of doing that. But here we go. Let's go on to this next one here because we're talking about the in crowd. Well, we got Big Pharma boss caught faking his COVID vaccination status, injected himself with salt water instead, now facing criminal charges. This is out of Spain. I got it from Mundo. This is basically an English recopying of the Mundo article. But Dr. Susafaro is one of almost 2,200 celebrities and European elite who have been erroneously vaccinated against COVID, according to a list compiled by the National Police of Spain. So basically, you had artists, DJs, celebrities, doctors, famous people who didn't want to get this shot. They arranged to get a saltwater shot, and then they had somebody on the inside who would fraudulently update their status. So, and they would charge them up to, like, somebody really famous had to pay, I think, $200,000 for some of your more famous clientele that they did this for. So it just goes to show you, like Tim said, it's a big club, and if you got enough money, you can be in it, and the more money you have, the more money it'll cost you. But why would they not want to have it? Well, let's look at a couple stories here. This is from Rebel News. This is Pfizer lied, people died? Question mark. The company's own vaccine.
I think you.
Huh?
I think
You
you
think
got
so?
kicked.
Probably.
Pretty sure.
It shows me still going here. I don't know. Let's see what we got on YouTube.com. Yeah, you step on the wrong toes, you won't be around very long. But let's make sure we're still going here.
Well,
It
maybe
shows
not.
me
Okay.
I'm going.
My bad.
Nope.
Okay, never mind. My bad. I guess I don't know. Maybe mine was buffering on my end and it kicked me from here because.
That's all right.
Good, sorry. But it did. It kicked me and started playing another video.
What the
of my
shit we be
PC,
talking
so-
about, you know? The Pfizer lied, people died? Question mark. Company's own vaccine trial shows significant harm, and they go on to show that they came with an increased risk of illness and death compared to the placebo group in their trial, according to Rebel News. Now, in the placebo group, I did look. It was 14 deaths in the actual drug group and 15 in the placebo group, and they did say that those that was not a significant difference, which I guess it's not really because everybody's different. So one way or the other doesn't really prove anything. But we got fact checks from that though. Let's look at this fact check here from fullfact.org. Pfizer vaccine doesn't have a 6% fatality rate. What was claimed was that the Pfizer vaccine has a 1 in 17 mortality rate, and they say their verdict is it's false. Of those adverse event cases reported after vaccination with the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccination, which ended in death or recovery, the figure is a proportion which were fatal. So, here, get down here a little bit and I'll show you what they're talking about. We got right here in the middle of the screen here, if you look, the document states that Pfizer identified 42,886 case reports of adverse events. Now, out of how many people was this? It does not say. But that was weird from Skype there. The 21,000.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, yeah, your voice went cut out and it went whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I don't know. That was strange.
Start talking again.
So-
Speaking that alien language contact.
So it basically comes
Well-
down to that. No, it wasn't a 6% because it was actually instead of being 1 in 17, it was 1 in 34 of the adverse events resulted in death. So it was still, it was still not great. We'll say like that. But we got to be careful about how we talk about the Pfizer thing. But basically, in their fact check, they were showing that it was the number of events was still a 3% fatality, is what it sounds like among the adverse reactions. So that's still pretty high. 1 in 34. Rather than 1 in 17. So when we got right here, we've got, this is from 2020. I saw this posted today, and I thought this was odd because it was in the Reddit conspiracy board, which I'm pretty sure has been co-opted by government or some other kind of agency that doesn't like to let people, freely express themselves, or likes to control the narrative or decide what to be talked about, what can be talked about.
What
I saw
part of
that-
Reddit?
Well, Reddit conspiracy. But I-
Like, suggest the subreddit of Reddit conspiracy.
Yeah. I noticed
Do you
when
really
they,
think it needs? Do you really think it needs government people to do it though? Like,
Well-
Reddit's just full of people that would totally allow a narrative to be controlled because they wanted to be right anyway.
I've seen them pull like several stories off of there. The moderators of that sub, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing as like Tumblr or Discord or a lot of these other services, whatever you call them. Like, they don't even apologetically say we're super far left leaning. And
Yeah.
like, remember, like when Elon started getting Twitter investigated, and it turned out they were just like, yeah, we've been unapologetically censoring the right for a long time, and there's nothing they're going to do about it.
Yeah.
Reddit's kind of the same way, but it's just Redditors. They control that little area, but they don't own it. But if everybody that uses a website just happens to lean in a certain direction,
Yeah, it's not just that.
you know what I'm saying?
I feel like some of these things like this, I'll show you why. Like, look at this. You've got, this is made to look as if it is from June 7th, 2022. Founder of vaccine safety website X-Pharma Insider found dead, from LifeSiteNews.com. There is an article from LifeSiteNews.com with that title, but it's from 2020. From December of 2020. So that's odd right there to begin with. But then they have a post from her where she says, now she was running the vaccine. She was a former, it said, and this calls her an former X-Pharma Insider. Well, I guess she was, but she was a sales rep for Vioxx. So I don't know if that would necessarily make her an insider, but she was selling a drug, or promoting the sale of a drug to doctors' offices that ended up killing 38,000 people after 88,000 of them had heart attacks. So they had 20. Yeah, from Vioxx. Yeah, it was in the early 2000s.
It sounds like a battery or something. doesn't it? It's Duracell. Forget Vioxx. But Duracell kind of sounds like an antipsychotic.
But they did probe the sudden death. The police did probe the sudden death of an anti-vaccine activist. This is from Newsweek. Back in 2020, she was found dead by her 9-year-old son in their home in California, and she was in good health. And in the photo that I showed you there of her, this is a post she made on Facebook. That the post I wish I didn't have to write. She said she's never had thoughts of suicide, and she's got a mission here, and her son means everything to her. She'd never leave. She's never been on antidepressants, or no way anybody could get into my house. I have an excellent security system. if anything were to happen to me, she also said she doesn't take any pharmaceuticals. I guess after being a drug rep for a drug that killed a bunch of people, she I guess swore off them altogether. But she also ran the site. What's the site? Give me just a second. She worked for Merck when she was in the pharmaceutical industry. Learn the Risk, that's what it was. And she founded it as a nonprofit to educate people on the dangers of pharmaceutical products, including vaccines and unnecessary medical treatments. So she obviously had some things to say on the COVID vaccine. So I thought it was pretty interesting that was popping up again. But the reason I bring it up is you got all this stuff coming out about people not wanting to take the shot. You got everybody meeting together. So again, part of this whole thing where it's a big club and you ain't in it. Miss You said it has been buffering a lot today. That's got to be on YouTube's end. Mine's loud and clear. I mean, I'm crystal clear. And if I have a problem over here, it shows up on my screen because my cameras run off Wi-Fi. So I mean, if my internet's not coming through, when I move my head like this, I'll see it glitch out on my screen, but it's doing good. So I don't know. Sorry about that. I'm glad you're still with us, Miss You too. And let's see. I think we're gonna round it up for tonight. Kind of keep it a short one. Tim, what do you think about all this crap?
I mean, I don't like. Lately. I mean, like every time like I read the news and stuff, I'm just like I don't even have a reaction. I'm just like, makes sense. But really just tuned out, to be honest with you. Just decided that the world was going to burn itself down. I was just going to focus on me, and it's narcissistic, or I don't know, solipsistic as that might sound. Like I don't have to watch the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think that's what it is. I'm just saying, like, well, I'll give you an example. Like, there's a movie that came out called Jojo Rabbit. Have you ever seen it? It's not like
I didn't see it.
Movie, but okay. Well, it's a movie about a little kid who lives in Nazi Germany, and his mom is I think his mom's like one of the I think his mom's like a Jewish sympathizer who's keeping a girl on the wall. You know.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, she's an active Nazi citizen going to the parties and stuff like that. And so the story is actually just this kid who's trying to be a good little Nazi boy who has like fantasies of like shaking hands with Hitler, but at the same time he's torn because there's a pretty Jewish girl on the wall that he doesn't want to turn in.
I remember seeing the previews.
Okay, so the actual story of the movie is just that. Him going to all the adults, trying to get advice on finding out what it's like, what it really means to be a man without his dad around, and trying to, that sort of thing. But it kind of tricks you into thinking it's actually a World War II movie, because the whole time it's about, he lives in Berlin, and the whole time Berlin's being invaded, it's being ransacked, and it ends with Berlin being taken over. But it disguises it as like a World War II movie, when in reality it's just a movie about a kid coming of age.
Right.
And I think that's kind of how we need to look at it. Like, yeah, we got doom and gloom every single day. You've got COVID, threats of wars, diseases. None of that stuff's ever going to go away. So if we don't kind of take a page out of that and just focus on yourself, despite Berlin being raided around you, your life's going to kind of be shitty.
I think that's good advice for all of us. Keep calm and carry on to a degree.
Yeah, or at least laugh a little.
Yeah. Well, I kind of felt the same way when I was putting together the news stories for this show tonight, and I was trying to find something to keep it a little light, which I was going to do The Simpsons with, and we saw how that worked out. But yeah, there's when I was going through some of these stories, we had the good-hearted story in the beginning of the boy who, was lost in the woods there in Montana, and then was found, so that was good, and then the cache was found. But then we got into a little bit on the darker side of things, and sometimes that's just the way we have to do it, so we'll know what's going on in the world around us. Because
do you think that story with the kid, if he hadn't been found, do you think that's actually where feral people come from?
That's a good question. It could be, because that kid managed to stay alive for 2 days.
Like, age him like 15 more years, and he's still got that wild look in his eyes. He fashioned a hula out of like pine cones to cover his naughty bits and stuff.
Why would he care? You'd be feral.
know.
You go feral at that young of an age. That would truly be feral if you managed to survive as a 3-year-old. Think about it. Think about.
Well, they did have one. It was the 12-year-old boy they found. I'm wanting to say up in England, Russia. I don't remember.
Peter the Wild Boy there in Germany, I believe he was found, and they took him to England.
He got lost around 4-ish or something like that,
Mm.
but he managed to make it to around 12-ish. They don't know the exact age,
Yeah.
but so despite all odds, somehow human beings can do that.
Yep.
So
We are resilient creatures, that is for sure. Hey, listen, that's about all we got for you for tonight. We're just going to kind of keep this one kind of short, not keep you up all night. But on Sunday, we probably will keep you up all night because we're going to get into is this the anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark, when we were talking about the Ark of the Covenant and what powers it's purported to have, what's in the Bible on it, what's in contemporary stuff. So we're going to get into all that stuff and look into it, and we'll have it in mind. We'll also be looking at Raiders of the Lost Ark with that in mind. So that'll be a fun night, and I think it'll be one that you'll enjoy. Jump in the chat, like, share, subscribe, invite your friends over to enjoy this with us.
go watch the movie ahead of time.
Yeah,
so you
that's
know
a
what
good
we're
idea.
talking about. You can fact check.
Yeah, so you can notice some of this stuff and know exactly what we're talking about. It's probably been a while since you've seen Raiders. It's been, I usually watch it, I don't know, every couple of years I watch it. I've probably seen it 20 times, or if not more. But yeah, it's one of those that never gets old for me. I don't watch it enough to get it old, but every couple of years I'll watch it. And
I guess this is the only comment I'll give it for now because it just popped into my head about the idea of when they stored the Ark of the Covenant in the box and they put the swastika on the side of it, and then like the swastika burns off like it's considered an unholy symbol. We can get into the problem with that, I guess, on Sunday.
Yeah.
But
God doesn't like sun symbols.
that's simple in reality.
All right. Well, Tim, thanks for joining me. Miss you too. Thank you for participating. And we will see you on Sunday. Watch that Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let's get into it. Have a good one, y'all. Bye. Well, I kind of